Welcome back to the Huddle, Season 2, Episode 6. As always, I'm your host, Maya Perez, and today we have two banging topics for you guys, March Madness and the NFL free agency. But let's first get started with March Madness. We have three talented experts here to discuss March Madness, but let's start with some background. March is finally here, which means March Madness is right around the corner. The NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament is one of the most unpredictable events in sports. Every year, there's a buzzer beater, a massive upset, and at least one Cinderella team that completely destroys everyone's bracket. That's what makes the tournament so fun. A powerhouse program can look unstoppable one night, and then a smaller school comes out of nowhere and knocks them out of the next. With Selection Sunday coming up, teams across the country are still fighting for those final spots in the bracket, hoping they'll get a chance to make a run in the tournament. So with March Madness right here, Chris, who's a team you think could make a deep run in this year's tournament?
We're here on the Huddle. Today we're talking March Madness, big-time teams that are going to make a big-time run in the tournament this year. This year, the squad that I got taking it all is Houston, ranked number 5. The real reason why I got Houston winning it all this year is because of the point guard, Kingston Fleming. When you're talking about NCAA tournament teams, I think that the thing that is going to put you over the hump is it's gotta rely solely on the point guard. If your team has a solid point guard that's going to be a high-level pro, he's really high ranked on the draft boards this next year. Kingston Fleming is the reason why Houston is going to make a deep playoff run. Coming up off of last year's tournament, they were the runner-ups. They lost the tournament. They lost the championship game last year by 2 points. So this year, I think them having that motivation to go far in the tournament this year, it's going to be a great year for Houston.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to combat that because my team to make a big push is the Kansas Jayhawks. So not only did they beat the Houston on the way, they beat Houston at home, they also beat Arizona as well. So they proved they can play without their best player and one of the best scouted players for the draft, Darren Peterson. They've been able to play good without him. They were able to beat the big teams without him being in the game. So Kansas City, for me, is definitely going to make a big run for sure.
Well, let me stop you right there. Chris, like you said, point guard means everything. Well, Miami, Ohio's leading scorer is their point guard, Peter Schroeder. He averages 14.8 points a game, but also that team is a stacked team. They're 20th ranked, but they're 31-0. They're second in the nation in scoring with 90 points a game. They're 9th in three-point conversion, and they're the nation-leading team in field goal percentage. So I think this team can make a run, a sleeper team. I don't think it will be a Cinderella team because they're a lower name school, but I think they can make a run just by being 31-0 and being an elite scoring team.
31-0, I mean, that's insane. But you're in a lower-ranked conference. You're playing against lesser competition. Teams like Arizona, teams like Duke, teams like Michigan, if Miami of Ohio runs into any one of these teams at any point in the tournament, they're more than likely going to get spanked. A team like Houston, they're ranked right outside of the top 4. Right. Houston is going to be a 2 seed. So they're going to be a 2 seed in the Midwest Conference. So their path to a title is going to be set up well for them to go far in the tournament this year. So
well, I'll say this. Just because a team is ranked as high doesn't mean they're always going to go as far in the March Madness playoffs tournament. See, like teams like Kansas, like they can just come in because it's only one game. It's not a 7-game series. This is not NBA. So whoever's better on that night can come in and get the win. That's why I think Kansas City, who've shown they can beat teams like your Houston, like Arizona, they can come in and be better on that night for sure.
On any given night, it's not a toss-up. The more talented team, the team in college basketball, you can pretty much pick the winner basically based on what team has more pros, what team has a higher level of pros. All of the blue blood teams like Duke, Michigan, all of those teams, those teams are the teams with the players that are ranked super high, high in the draft boards. Players like Darren Peterson, even though he has trouble getting on the court.
Yeah.
Guys like AJ DeBonsta, all of these guys are they play for the teams that are supposed to make a deep tournament run. But those teams, they, you know, like you said, it's a one game matchup. It's a one-time thing. Anybody can get beat on any given night.
Yeah.
Well, like previous March Madness, it's looked the opposite. Just because you have NBA-ready players doesn't mean you do good in the tournament. Look at last one. They had Duke, what's his name, Cooper Flagg. They didn't win the tournament. They lost. And then you could look at 2015, that Kentucky freshman squad. They lost as well. So it's just like how you said, any given day, one game. If you win, you move on. You lose, you lose. So it's not, you just got to play the best of your abilities. Make your shots and keep on going.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Kentucky because, you know, Kentucky throughout the years, not currently, but every year they had like a big draft pick that can go, you know, high in the draft. Great teams, but they always somehow lose in the first round against the teams they should beat. Like that time when they had Rod Dillingham and they lost to Oakland. That guy had 32 points in the 0 stat line. It's like it doesn't matter that the team is just good. That's not enough. And it's shown many times in March Madness. It's whoever team is playing better on that night. And it's shown time after time. But those teams that can stay poised, stay disciplined, like a UConn, you know, those are the teams that have the staying power in the tournament.
Okay. What do you guys think about the draft? And who do you guys see being the best player to get picked in the next NBA draft?
If AJ DeBensta decides not to return for another year, it's going to be AJ DeBensta. I mean, he's the nation leading
You think
scorer.
he's better than Peterson?
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay, why do you think that?
Just look at his game. He's dominant everywhere on the court. You can't stop him, and it just shows like that. And Peterson, he's trying to get on the court. That's his negative. He can't get on the court. And it's going to look bad statistical-wise, and they're going to look over him, maybe. That's just my opinion, maybe. But
because of the injuries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the only thing, obviously Darren Peterson, but the only thing that holds him back is he can't get on the floor. But like when he's on the floor, I think skill for skill, I think he should be the number one. You know, it's been a while since we've seen a skilled point guard like that. But the only reason I say AJ will go first is because of the availability of Darren Peterson for sure.
Okay. Yeah, Darren Peterson's injuries are the one thing that's going to stop him from being the number one pick. Outside of that, skill for skill, attribute for attribute, he's probably the most NBA-ready guy out of everybody in the draft. But I think that the guy in the draft this year that is one of the most slept-on players is Darius Acuff Jr. I seen Sean Miller, a great college basketball head coach, that was bringing him up after they played against Arkansas. Yeah, he gave him like basically rave reviews because Darius Acuff, I mean, as a point guard, he should be talked about more in terms of like being the number one pick.
Yeah.
I think that Darius Acuff and Arkansas, they're definitely a team that can make a deep push in March Madness this year.
They can. Oh, not to be rude,
Go
but
ahead.
they can. But you got to remember who Arkansas's head coach is. It's John Calipari. John Calipari makes NBA-ready players, but he doesn't win tournaments. He could, like how you brought up,
Kentucky.
like how I brought up Kentucky and how you continued on it. They can have you ready for the NBA, one and done, but then you don't win anything. So it's just like, oh yeah, you're a good player, you're ready for the league, but you can't win when it comes time to win.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another player I'm looking at, obviously, we know Cameron Boozer. Like, stat-wise, I think he's just been dominating the whole season, really. You know, I watched him since high school. We known he was a good talent, but, like, seeing him play on a team like Duke, you know, Duke always has players that, you know, thrive, but he's just been showing he can do it on another level, and I think that's another player to look out for. And Duke is also a team that can go far in the tournament for me.
Of course. I think that the title winner this year is going to be the team that has that more than likely has the most pros and the most motivation to win a title this year. That team for me is more than likely going to be Houston. I just think that them having Kingston Fleming an NBA-ready point guard is what's gonna decide whether they're successful or not this year.
Like I said, I think Miami, Ohio could be a Cinderella team because they have something to prove. They got to show all the analytics. Just because we're in a lower name school doesn't mean anything. They went 31-0. They took down every opponent that was put in front of them, and they beat them. Yes, they've had 10 double-digit or 10 close-scoring games, but they still came out and won. So, I mean, that team has grit and determination, so I think they can make a Cinderella run.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, bro, it's Candace. So, we obviously already got Trey White and Bryson Tiller, but, like, if Darren Peterson comes back, because I don't know if he comes back how good he will be or impact the team in the playoffs. But even without him, like, they being, like, great teams. They beat Houston, at your home. They beat Arizona at home. Like, I just think if Darren Peterson comes back, and, like, they're already good without him, but if they have him on the team, it's going to be really hard to beat that Candace team, because they're so well balanced.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Maya, back to you.
Thank you guys for telling me what to watch for in this upcoming March Madness. But let's move on to the NFL. One of the more surprising storylines coming out of the NFL offseason involves one of the league's most disruptive pass rushers. A potential deal that would have sent Max Crosby to the Baltimore Ravens has reportedly fallen through, meaning the star edge rusher is still without a new home, at least for now. Crosby spent his career with the Las Vegas Raiders after being drafted in 2019 and quickly turned into one of the most feared defensive players in the league. With the Ravens backing out, the big question now becomes, who's next? Several teams around the league could be in the market for a player like Crosby. The Dallas Cowboys were one of the teams most heavily linked to Max Crosby during trade discussions. Dallas has consistently prioritized building a strong pass rush, and adding Crosby would give them another elite edge rusher to pair with the talent already on their defensive line. The Chicago Bears are also mentioned as a potential landing spot for Crosby as they continue building their roster for the future. Chicago has been looking to strengthen its defense, particularly the pass rush, and adding a proven player like Crosby could instantly elevate that side of the ball. The Bears also have the financial flexibility and draft assets to make a move for a star defender if they could choose to pursue one. Ariel, start us off. What were your initial thoughts with the Max Crosby trade and all the other free agency deals going on right now?
Yeah, thanks, Maya. And I don't know what just happened a few minutes ago. The Crosby trade to the Ravens completely just went out the door. They said that he failed the physical, and this might be one of the craziest trade offseason drama that I've seen in a long time, especially such a high caliber player like Max Crosby. Now he's just like that, trade gone. And
I mean, as the Raider fan, I saw that news on Friday night, just finished grieving. It's Tuesday when we're filming this, just finished grieving, and it is so hard to finally accept maybe those 2 first-round picks are better for our future. And now, with all the money we just spent and the money coming back from the Crosby trade, is that really what's best for us? Are we really going to be better off without those 2 first-round picks? But that defense, we rebuilt that cornerback room. Is Crosby going to help elevate this defense to what it should have been? Or is this something that's just going to hurt us?
It's like they can't even really keep Crosby anymore. All the money they saved from getting rid of him, they just spent on a whole,
Hey, no, this is Vegas. We got some money.
We got some money.
They don't have that much money. It's still the Raiders before they're Vegas.
Yeah, and it's still Max Crosby. That's a huge contract. I don't know if they can afford him. If they can, they're going to be really tight. It doesn't make any sense for them to keep him, but now they're going to lose the value that they got for him. It's going to go down. And, I mean, luckily for me as a Cowboys fan.
Before we talk about your stupid Cowboys, I want to mention how the Raiders, before the Crosby back out, were having the best offseason out of any NFL team. Mentioned the 2 first-round picks to help build around young Mendoza, and they signed Tyler Linderbaum, the best center on the free agent market. Not only does he slot in at center, that allows Jackson Powers-Johnson go over to guard. Bam, new tandem for you. They also signed Jalen Naylor, give Mendoza a target. And then you mentioned that rebuild defense with Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, and Kwity Paye. That's crazy.
And
that is a crazy good.
Devin White as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of washed, but, they still rebuild it. They re-signed Eric Stokes. They've been doing a great job.
They did a great job, but you don't hear for the Raiders very often. The Raiders did a great job.
Yeah.
They got rid of Geno, who's now a Jet again. So,
I'm gonna be honest, we got rid of him twice. I thought we cut him.
Me too. I was like, how did they trade him if they got rid of him? But yeah, the Raiders, such a good offseason, not common for them. I generally was thinking hey, they might be a playoff team right on the border this year. Next year, for sure, they'll be a playoff team once they build that team up around Mendoza. But now they're not completely screwed. They still built that good team, but they have to figure out what to do with Crosby. And what I was saying was this might be a good chance for the Cowboys to put their name back in there. They were, I'm not sure if they're the second team to be like that close to getting Crosby before the Ravens, but they were offering a first and a second. And obviously the Raiders went with the 2 first rounders. But now the value of Crosby has gone down. I've heard actually reports that the Cowboys are still interested from NFL Network. So, I think now we could even offer, forget the first, let's just do the second, Osa Odigizua.
With the value dropping of the failed physical, which is really surprising given the fact that he had surgery not too long ago to try and fix these issues. But with that value, maybe it does just become 1 first.
Maybe just 1 first, yeah.
As you were saying, the aging superstar, it's kind of hard to take on that older player who isn't fully healthy anymore. And especially as we've seen guys' careers derail as they take on more injuries. And Crosby, we know, everybody knows, he plays those incredible amount of snaps. Had, I believe, a streak of 6 games without taking 1 playoff. It's incredible what he does.
Yeah, I think sorry, I'll let you go right now. But
I will go right now because I'm going to say, because you're Cowboys, you mentioned you want the Cowboys to sign or trade for Max Crosby for 1 first-round pick.
Well, who wouldn't?
I wouldn't. I don't really want him for a first-round pick. I already got TJ Watt. But besides the point, I'm talking about how the Cowboys offseason right now, I think even you can agree it's been
No.
What do you mean no?
No.
What do you mean no?
Absolutely not. Okay, look, let's get this out of the way.
No, let me tell you right now.
Let's get out of the way right now.
No. You signed Jalen Thompson. That's been your best free agent signing. Oh, good job, Jalen Thompson. Okay. PJ Locke, another safety. Those are 2 safeties. You got Sam Williams and Otito Ogben. I don't even know how to pronounce that guy's last name. But and then you overpaid, so you got Rashawn Gary. You traded a 4th-round pick for him. There were reports that the Packers were looking to cut him.
I'm okay with it.
But then you look at a trade maybe like Michael Pittman to Pittsburgh. They just swapped a 6th and a 7th as well as giving Pittman to there. You telling me they couldn't do that with Gary?
Okay, that's a great trade for the Steelers. I don't care. As a Cowboys fan, what I've been used to every offseason is nothing. We don't do anything. Jerry does nothing. Now, he actually seems aggressive in the offseason, in these trades, in the free agent market. He actually seems like he wants to fix the defense. So I'm not upset that we've only gone players here and there, haven't completely fixed. The draft still has to come. We're still going to fix the defense. We'll be a good team. Now, yes, I wish we got Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson already, but I can't. There's a lot of people online, especially Cowboys fans, who are complaining. And I'm like, there's no way after all the seasons we've been through that you guys are complaining about this still. It just sounds like they want to complain because the narrative right now is Jerry Jones sucks as an owner, as a GM. And sure, I might have believed that before, but I think he's trying to prove himself. Maybe he knows, time is ticking. He doesn't have all the time in the world, and he wants to go win one. And I think they're trying now.
You're saying that Cowboys fans are complaining just to complain until you're suiting up at middle linebacker week 1. You gotta address that. I know you tried to trade for Patrick Queen. Those talks stalled. You can't really draft, the best one in the draft is Sonny Styles, but I don't know if he's gonna fall to you guys. But
yeah,
regardless, I think
there's cornerbacks to draft instead in case he doesn't.
I suppose, but you got to fill one of the 2 holes in free agency right now because the only way you know that a draft pick is going to be immediate starter if they're a 1st or 2nd round pick. Without that, and plus you might use one of those 1st round picks to trade for a Crosby anyway.
Right. So you say if we do go end up trading for Crosby, you think it's still a bad offseason for the Cowboys?
No, I said that's impact. You trade for a guy who.
But to be honest, I'm not too worried about our D-line. I'm quite satisfied with our D-line as of right now. Obviously, I'd take Crosby in a heartbeat, but I'm more focused on the secondary. I want us to draft cornerbacks. I want us to trade for cornerbacks. I would have liked Fitzpatrick at safety. So yes, but the secondary is my main concern, and I wish we would have done more right now. But there's still time. There's still time for trades. I'm not too worried about our defense compared to last season. And you know what? I think maybe give Deron Bland a second chance. Give Ravel a second chance. I know, but anyways, back to Crosby though. For you, how much is that heartbreak going over again? And what do you really see happening with Crosby?
You guys saw me when we got that news again. I was going through all the emotions again. Is this good? Is this bad? The anger all coming back. I'm gonna be honest, with the young team we were building, I much rather would have had Crosby gone. Because if he comes back and he truly isn't healthy, this is why the value drops, because how much help is he going to be if he's missing games again?
Yeah.
If he's not able to play to his full maxed out potential.
Max.
You like that?
And you kind of
That's
actually
all right.
called this. You kind of called this on your first time on the Huddle, actually. You said, blow it up, blow the Raiders up, blow them up.
Don't blow the Raiders
Hold
up.
on.
Send Max
away the big
Crosby,
contracts, yeah.
send him away, and rebuild. And that's exactly what they did. And we've seen how much it worked already. They got all these good players for the price of Max Crosby, for his value in money. But now they have to do something. They can't keep him. We've already said this. So who would you rather them trade with now? What do you expect to get out of him now?
See, and this is the problem. I don't know. Because you very well can keep him. We had over 90 million in money to spend this year. And I believe we've only spent in the range of 50 to 60. So you still have the money to keep him if you wanted to. And that 90 million was with Crosby on the roster. So you still have that money. But the real question is, if you keep him, is that relationship already severed? Because when he got traded, they said he was ready to move on 2 months ago, and they hid it from the public. Is that tie really severed? And if it is, now your trade value, not only with the injury and his failed physical, but also with the bad relations, the picks value you would have got is so much lower than it was, and it's to the point where you can't trade him anymore.
The situation has flipped. It used to be the Raiders held all the cards. There were all these teams calling. You mentioned Cowboys offered a first and a second, and the Ravens topped that with 2
still
firsts.
interested.
Now it's going to be the other teams have the leverage.
Yeah.
They're going to hold that. I don't know if I want to give up this much for him or what you're asking. He failed his physical.
And knowing
He's
damn
injured.
well they will give up that much of him. It's Max Crosby.
Yeah.
I think, I personally wouldn't be mad if we still gave up the first and the second for Max Crosby. But knowing now with the injury, why would we? We should be talking down the value of him. And the Raiders are just have to accept it because no one's going to trade for him for the same price he was.
For that reason, I think they should keep him for a year. Let him play back. Let him get fully healthy. See in the offseason.
Get his value back up.
Get that value back up. And if at that point with Mendoza, with all the new names that I listed, if you're a good team, keep him.
True.
Yeah, just have
If he truly benefits the team, yeah.
have one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. That's a great thing to have.
Yeah, and it's such a confusing situation too because we said like the injury. Of course, he just had surgery. But even when the Raiders kind of forced him to take that surgery, to do the surgery, and he was saying he didn't really need it. He was posting, remember he was posting on social media, him jumping on a trampoline, him playing all these sports, playing basketball. He's basically sending a message like, I don't need the surgery. I don't need to be sat for the rest of the season. And I feel like that's where the whole thing kind of started. They started fighting because of that, and then he was like, I don't want to play for this team. So now I'm just confused of what happened, and it's going to impact the league crazy now. Moving on from Max Crosby, I'm sure we'll talk about him a little more, but what other teams did you say really won so far? It's only day 2 as of recording right now.
Yeah, so the 2 teams, Raiders was one of them. Well, before the Crosby thing. Now I don't know about them. But I truly think the team that maybe has won the most so far, sleeper team, the Tennessee Titans. They have shown the willingness to invest in their young quarterback, Cam Ward. How many times do we see teams, maybe like the Browns or something like that, they get a young quarterback and they absolutely fail them? We saw with the Raiders a bunch of years ago with Derek Carr, the Texans when they first were around with David Carr, and you look at the signings they made. Wan'Dale Robinson, get him a target, get Cam Ward a target. John Franklin Myers, Alontae Taylor, Cordell Flott, Josh Williams. That's a new defense. That's 4 new defensive pieces. And we cannot deny that Brian Dable, the new coach of the Titans, helped bring these ex-Giants there. And then also, you get him a little mentor with Mitchell Trubisky. It's never a bad thing to have. His mentor last year was, I don't even know, that's how bad he was. So now you got Trubisky, you got him in there. I really think they're a new revamped team, and I think they're maybe ready to compete. AFC South is weak. AFC South is weak. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
Is it really weak?
Yeah, really
I mean,
weak.
The Texans have
They
had
got
the top
C.J. Stroud,
defense.
4 interceptions in one playoff game.
We can't write off C.J. Stroud already.
I can.
That's the problem with the league is that you guys want to write off a quarterback after one bad year.
But if you want to talk about
2
the
maybe.
Texans, how about the acquisition they made for David Montgomery?
Exactly.
But he's moving. He excelled so much in a role being the secondary guy, being the knuckles to the Jahmyr Gibbs Sonic. And now he moves in, and now he's expected to be the bell cow. You saw Joe Mixon's gone. It's going to be him and
Chubb was their other
Nick
running
Chubb
back. I
was
don't
there.
know if they're keeping
Woody
him.
Marks.
Yeah, Woody Marks after that playoff run.
Does that excite you when you're an opposing team? You're oh my god, they got David Montgomery and Woody Marks. Does that strike fear in your heart, Marcus? Does it?
What strikes fear in my heart is their defense. I'd rather have a team with a better defense, especially I'd rather have a team with a better defense after the Cowboys season. We've already seen what a good offense and a bad defense is. It's not a playoff team. So, and the Texans made the playoffs, and I think they're going to make the playoffs again. I think they're the favorite in that division right now. The Colts, I don't know. It depends on if Daniel Jones bounces back played the way he did this year, and even that's up for debate. People think it was just a fluke season or
No,
not.
I do think that is silly by the Colts. You put the transition tag on him to which is a lot of money for Daniel Jones coming off an ACL. And then you trade away Michael Pittman, but you re-sign Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
I understand he's younger, maybe a little more potential, but at the same time, I feel like they're investing in the wrong areas of that team.
I'm also surprised we haven't seen Anthony Richardson get dealt yet. This is someone I saw coming out of Florida as a very high prospect. And if he went to the right coaches, I could see him very well being this Lamar Jackson, Jane Daniels top caliber quarterback. And I know you're going to look at me crazy, but all the intangibles, you can't teach that. All you can teach is him how to read the field. And if he reads the field at a high level, this is someone who can really be a top quarterback in this league.
Yeah, but you're asking someone among the likes of like a Michael Vick to be a Drew Brees when you're asking him to read the field like that. He's not going to be able to do that. That's maybe at a little bit higher level, but not at the real top level that I think is needed for him.
I mean, I kind of agree with you here. Like, with how many teams need a quarterback, there aren't many, but there are definitely some teams that should be taking some interest. The Jets being one. I don't. Why are you starting Geno after this year?
Which, who knows why? Send him back.
They have Justin Fields, and they're gonna trade for Geno and send him back like Max Crosby got sent back. No.
Send him back to the Jets, the team that drafted.
Oh yeah. I just think the Jets are a team who should be looking at quarterbacks like Kyler Murray. Anthony Richardson's not a terrible choice. The Steelers should be looking at these guys, and I haven't really heard anything about that. Like, there's no way they're really gonna go with the guys they have right now. Even the Dolphins, like Malik Willis, that's another crazy one.
They shelled out $20 million for him. He's going to be their starter.
Yeah, of course, but is that the right choice?
Do I think it's the right? I mean, he played 6 games in the past 2 years, gets $20 million. Just put me out there for a couple of games, get a bag.
I'll take 100,000.
Hey,
come on.
Look at the counterpart, Tua going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. You just got rid of Kirk Cousins, and now you have Michael Penix and Tua competing.
So now you have 2 left-handed quarterbacks who cannot throw the ball. That's crazy.
And can't stay healthy.
And cannot stay healthy. And have funny last names. Anyways, but I did want to mention the Jets, actually, as a team. Before the Geno Smith trade was actually going pretty crazy.
Okay.
New revamped defense. They signed Joseph Ossai, Demario Davis is back. They got David Onyemata, Kingsley Enabaga, Dane Bolton, Tavondre Sweat, which was the trade they made with the Titans earlier, and then you mentioned Minka Fitzpatrick. He went there too. That is 7 new defensive players for a revamped Jets defense. That is amazing.
Yeah, and you're talking about all these teams who kind of stacked up so far in these 2 days since free agency opened up. But I've been just focused on the teams that have kind of been like the Seahawks. Just sold everyone after winning a Super Bowl. And now Kenneth Walker's on the freaking Chiefs, and we have to deal with that. And Tariq Woolen, that's the one trade I was thinking kind of stood out. I'm jealous. But
Go Birds, baby.
But yeah, Tariq Woolen to the Eagles. I'm jealous. Like I said, we need a cornerback. We should have been looking at that. Now our rival has him.
Yeah.
So
talk about a CB room of Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and Tariq Woolen. That is absolutely crazy. And
I mean, the Eagles kind of been on that path too, though, kind of getting rid of a lot of guys, getting nothing for it. I think that made up for it. But there's just been a lot of teams that have just been kind of, what's the term? Just selling everybody, just getting rid of everybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're not really replacing them with anyone, and they're just kind of going to a rebuild stage when I didn't really expect them to.
A team that fits that bill to a T is actually the Denver Broncos. You saw they released Dre Greenlaw. PJ Locke left. He's with the Cowboys now. They haven't signed a single free agent from another team, which I think is crazy after making the AFC Championship with a quarterback in year 2. Usually that's a sign. You press the button, sign as many good players as possible because you have a guy now. You've shown that you can win. So I don't really get what they're doing. Maybe you have insight as an AFC West fan.
As a Raiders fan, I am not complaining. I want to see that place burning, but I don't want to see them do anything. Because, especially with the Chargers coming up with Justin Herbert and John Harbaugh now. And then the Chiefs signing Kenneth Walker. Why? How did this happen? They never suffer. I don't understand it. How do they constantly do this? Travis Kelce announcing he's going to run it back for 1 more year. Everybody singing the praises. Oh, the Chiefs are back. I don't want to see it. The Broncos.
But they're not back because Trent McDuffie is now a Ram.
Yeah.
Jalen Watson is now a Ram. Pacheco's now a Lion. Well, Pacheco, not a big deal, but he's a Lion now. And even I mentioned Josh Williams earlier. He was sort of that third, fourth cornerback who was on the Chiefs now with the Titans. They really don't have any corner room, and obviously they're going to address that in the draft. But I don't think they're going to be as big, bad, and scary as everyone thinks they will be.
Yeah, that just reminds me right now, like the AFC is just completely up in the air. I mean, before we start recording, I was saying I might have thought the Chiefs were the favorite now, even though they don't have a defense, but everyone was saying the Ravens, and I was like, it's not the Ravens. Now it's really not the Ravens. And one player in the AFC that we haven't seen go anywhere yet is Trey Hendrickson. He's been a big name so far, and nothing as of right now. And now with the Max Crosby deal canceling, what do we see happening with Trey Hendrickson?
Well, it's organizational malpractice from the Bengals. You had the opportunity to trade him when he was at his absolute peak value, when he led the league in sacks, and then a year after being kind of he's seeking over $30 million per year, which I think is kind of fair. You see Jalen Phillips got $30 million a year, but I don't think any team's going to really go for that. I think your Cowboys might, though.
I don't think so anymore. After we got Rashawn Gary, and then a lot of people made good points. He only played, I think, 7 games out of a 17-game season last season. Why are we paying that guy $30 million?
And I also think these players you guys are mentioning, Rashawn Gary, Jalen Phillips, and Trey Hendrickson, I think they're all very similar players. But Trey Hendrickson having that former sack lead is just asking for the most. And it's just, you're not going to get as much value as you want for the money you're going to pay for him. So it's, are you really going to pay it? Or are you just going to wait, let that money just slowly drop, and then you're going to jump on him, take that money, and then take him as a player on your team?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think I'd rather trade the picks for Max Crosby than pay Trey Hendrickson $30 million and then pretty much be done with the offseason. So that's what I'm really looking for. Hopefully make that move. Like I said, they're still interested. But I think that's all we're going to have for today, guys. We'll see by Friday if anything happens with Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, and everyone else in free agency. But back to Maya.
Well, that's this week's The Huddle. Thank you to our basketball and NFL experts, and thank you, the viewer, for tuning into this episode, Season 2, Episode 6 of The Huddle. As always, I'm your host, Maya Perez, and follow our socials at thehuddle.official, and I will see you all next week for another episode of The Huddle.